So right quick, y'all didn't donate for me to buy the book. I bought my book with my hard-earned money. I probably sell the book once I'm done with it so I can make my money back, because you sure as hell didn't donate for me to get it. I ain't talking to the ones who support me monetarily. But for those of you who are enjoying the book, who have not donated monetarily, I am depending on you all the most to like this video and tell a friend about us doing this book. It is so important, y'all. I'm doing like double the work now because I'm excited about Erica Kennedy and Natalie Cole. So I need my supporters to please thumbs up this video and tell a friend. And if you got a little extra change, tip your favorite narrator via Cash App at $NAROB on YouTube. Now, let's go. Instead, he'd gotten everything in order, wrangling 4 coach plane tickets to New York, 2 $99 per night rooms at the Chesterfield before he strolled into Wildside Studios and crowed triumphantly, "Pack your bags, girls. We're going to New York." Call the girl. Why did Lamont always have to be so dramatic? Daryl wanted to call the girl, but he couldn't even remember the bitch's name. La something, Lavon? No, Latoya. Or maybe that was the other one. He'd already asked Lamont's assistant and the receptionist if they remembered the name of the pretty one because he couldn't find the group's bio and attached photo. With all the groups that had come through the office in the last few weeks, no one could remember a damn thing about any of them. Now Daryl, rummaging through all the useless office memos on his desk in search of the package the manager had left with him the other day. Daryl's office was tiny, so was he, but what he lacked in size, he more than made up for. He was 5'5" and 3/4 of an inch, but whenever anyone dared to question his height, he'd pull out his driver's license. Bam, 5'7". People always took that as gospel, as if the DMV actually measured folks. Hell, I ain't seen 184 pounds in about 5 years, but that ain't gonna stop me from putting it on my ID. His office would have felt larger if he'd cleared out the half-dozen boxes of demos he was supposed to listen to as the A&R rep of Triple Large Entertainment. His office would have felt larger if he'd cleared out the half-dozen boxes of demos he was supposed to listen to as the A&R rep of Triple Large Entertainment. When he first got the gig, he didn't even know what A&R stood for. Artist and repertoire, he was told. He still didn't entirely understand, but he'd figured out he was expecting to discover new artists and work on their development once they were signed. That he could do, although he really wanted to be a producer solely and forgot the office bullshit. He rarely got around to assessing the volumes of material that found their way into Midtown office. Most artists who got signed had already made names for themselves on the street or were affiliated with an established hip-hop clique. The next big thing rarely arrived unannounced via the United States Parcel Service. Nevertheless, Paul Mankiewicz, the label's VP and A&R, stayed on Daryl's ass about listening to every single submission. A strapping, floppy-haired white guy in his mid-30s, Paul Mankiewicz made 6 figures and his own hours. He was nicknamed Witchy because he had successfully cultivated so many R&B hip-hop acts at various record labels that people said he could work black magic. 23-year-old Daryl didn't have an official title. He was usually called the A&R guy, which preferred to be called Witchy's assistant. Though affable to most, Witchy cracked the whip on his departmental subordinates. I feel like in this situation that pretty much Witchy is on Daryl's ass because of humiliation, not because he wants him to be great. He's doing it just because he can. Come here, you. Somebody did it to me, so now I'm going to do it to you. Daryl believed as a form of insurance. If Witchy failed to meet his monthly beat up on Daryl quota, Witchy was guaranteed to receive a few lashes from the HNIC himself, Lamont Fat Man Jackson. Daryl idolized and despised Fat Man with equal fervor. Some days he wished he was standing straight in Lamont's $400 shoes, making big moves and bigger bank. Other days he hoped Lamont Jackson would keel over and die from a massive coronary and spend all eternity rotting in hell. What the shit? What didn't Andre Harrell die from a heart attack? A few months ago, Fat Man had put out the call that they'd be branching out into R&B. They were hoping to find the next Destiny's Child. In the past 2 months, they'd seen 27 groups. None of them got past their first song. After an audition 2 days ago of 3 white girls with varying degrees of pink hair who called themselves Shades, it was obvious Witchy was digging at the bottom of the barrel. Lamont had turned to Witchy and said, "Mr. Malkovich, why do I feel like I'm a judge on American Idol?" Daryl had fallen back on Lamont's sofa and laughed. It was a joy to see Witchy catching some flack for a change. But the most hysterical part was that Lamont was beginning to resemble the fat guy on the show. And then this group Heart Song, the worst effing name, had come in yesterday. Daryl had only listened to their demo as a favor to Megan, Triple Large's certified hottie receptionist. She urged him to listen to it, saying the manager was a friend of her cousin's friend. Oh well, I give it the VIP treatment right now. Like he cared. It was certain to be garbage, but if it brought him one small step toward getting some vagina from Megan, it was worth a listen. And what did you know? It wasn't bad. Not bad at all. So I'm thinking that this is Uptown. And Megan is Kim Porter. Y'all tell me below. Witchy was heated when he found out Daryl had flown them in without consulting him. One of the girls, the one with the long braids, had to be 20 pounds heavier than she'd been when the bio picture was taken. And the manager was annoyed as hell. Daryl had to shove him out of Lamont's office as he tried to sell him on 2 other hip-hop acts he managed. The group's audition didn't seem to ignite much enthusiasm in Lamont, although he didn't say that he straight up hated them, which was his response to most of the 27 who'd come before. This morning, Lamont had called Daryl at the crack of dawn to say maybe they didn't need a group after all. Actually, his first words were, "Where the hell is Witchy?" Daryl rolled over, looked at the ungodly hour, and yawned. At home sleeping, maybe. Lamont grunted his disapproval, then told Daryl he'd had a moment of revelation. He decided they needed just one girl, a solo artist. He wanted to meet with the lead singer of Heartstrong, the pretty one, he'd said. Daryl finally found the bio picture sticking out a stack of magazines on the floor. Mimi, that was her name. He looked at his fake Rolex. Damn, it was already 4:15 and Lamont wanted her down there by 5. He picked up the phone and dialed the hotel. This chick could be his first discovery, and if a signing came out of this, he wouldn't let Witchy or Fat Man forget it. Lamont climbed the winding staircase to his home gym thinking, Lamont Jackson, chairman of Augusta Music, had a nice ring to it. He'd be able to sell triple large to Augusta, but he'd still retain control of the label he'd founded as well as run several others. Okay, so you in the comments explain to me that this is not Andre Harrell. This is L.A. Reid, and he's speaking of LaFace Records. How much would the deal reap? 60 million? No. Triple Large was worth 75 at least. He stepped onto the treadmill and poked a few buttons. He usually worked out in the evening after coming home from the office and before going out for dinner and whatever else the night offered. But today, he'd come home right after his lunch meeting with Irv. One of the perks of being a top dog, you didn't have to account for your whereabouts to anyone. These workouts were often the only time he spent alone in an entire day. At the office, he had his minions swarming around and his faithful assistant, Imani, hovering nearby. At night, out at the most exclusive clubs, his entourage was always surrounding him. When traveling in his Maybach or Suburban, money green, fully loaded, his driver, Carlos, was at the wheel. And when he finally fell asleep in this Tribeca triplex, there was almost always a gorgeous babe in bed beside him. He had tried working out with a highly recommended personal trainer, but the guy had annoyed him and was fired after 2 sessions. That's because he said that the dude was like a Richard Simmons guy. I ain't gonna use the F word, but it was annoying to him for the guy to be and push and push and switch, up, down, up, down, up, down. Good job, good job. That was annoying to him. No, whatever. He had nothing against a little ass kissing as long as his ass was the one on the receiving end. It was actually one of his favorite things, but he got more than his fair share of that every day. And he'd gotten an uncomfortable feeling that that guy had wanted to kiss his ass for real. Besides, working out alone gave him a chance to decompress and think. The thought that was going through his mind right now was, I need a hit. A blinding success story that would prove to Irv Green, to the heads of HMG, to the world, that he deserved the top job at Augusta. 9 years ago, he had been one of hip-hop's corporate trailblazers, founding Triple Large Entertainment long before rappers were starring in movies, shilling for Sprite, and mingling with high society. His early track record as a label head had been unimpressive. The first few artists he'd released had come and gone without much fanfare and been summarily dropped from the label. Then 3 of his acts achieved gold record status, and selling 500,000 albums had still meant big success then. How far the bar had risen in only a few years. Now a record that was merely gold certified meant one with lackluster sales. Lamont didn't allow the word failure to be uttered by anyone within his ranks. In a slumping industry where music downloading had become an escalating problem and major labels were regularly laying off hundreds of employees, posting profits was more difficult and more important than ever. Lamont's first big success was Floss, a raspy-voiced West Coast rapper who wove biblical sayings into his rhymes about his ghetto fabulous life. Who the hell is that, y'all? He became the label's resident sex symbol, despite the fact that he had one prosthetic leg. Prosthetic leg? What the fuck? He'd lost his left leg below the shin after a car accident when he was 16 and claimed to have had a near-death experience and found God. Floss gave a whole new meaning to the term hip-hop. His debut, Profit and Floss, came close to selling 500,000 copies, although his bio said it was certified gold anyway. Ridiculous. Now he's spelling this Radickulous. Ridiculous. Triple Large's hip-hop comedian rapped about girls, parties, and mostly himself. Lamont had come up with the name following the phonetic spellings are cooler, tradition that the younger rappers seemed to favor. He thought ridiculous was an improvement over the rapper's original moniker, Big Dick. He could just imagine MTV having a heart attack over that. Dickie's first album, made some noise with 2 hit singles, but Lamont was disappointed with its performance. 2 million copies sold of the rapper's second effort. No fooling. But it was plasma-obsessed rapper named MC Grimy who had taken Lamont and TLE to the next level. So we got a rapper with a prosthetic leg and a blood-obsessed rapper. What the hell? Oh, this sounds crazy. Grimy's first album, Bloodhound, went gold. His second, Hematoma, went platinum, selling 1 million copies in total. His third, Cold Red, sold 2 million in its first 2 months. And his next, Crimson Tide, was the TLE all-time bestseller at 4 million copies to date. Who the hell is she talking about? Who is this blood-obsessed rapper? This is gross. When Lamont learned that Grimy had taken an IQ test as a child and scored a staggering high 140, Lamont started calling Grimy his thug genius. He was pleased when the nickname got picked up in the press. Ooh, y'all. And the only highly intelligent rapper that I'm aware of is Snoop Dogg. They said that he said that his IQ was 147. But you know them Libra men be lying. Lamont started calling Grimy his thug genius. He was pleased when that nickname got picked up in the press. It appeared in large type next to Grimy's head when the toned rapper was featured shirtless and splattered with blood on a controversial Rolling Stone cover. Controversial in large part because Grimy had shown up for the photo shoot toting a cooler containing 4 sealed bags of human blood of unknown origin. Girl, these gimmicks are wearing me out. Cause for real, MC Grimy could have a Judy, and I meant to say Judy, down there at the blood bank. Hey girl, just give me 4 bags of blood, girl, and I'll give it back to you later. Just let me borrow it. Thereafter, Lamont's publicist let it be known that Lamont himself had coined the term. Grimy's success had really put the company on the map. The Triple Large imprimatur meant something now. When a new album was released from the Triple Large stable, hip-hop consumers, 80% of whom was suburban white kids, took notice. Floss's second album, Gimme the Loot, had gone double platinum. Oh, negative, Grimy's latest LP had just reached 3 million. And from the looks of the first week sales numbers, Ridiculous Straight Clowning was on track to do even better. The R&B and hip-hop infused movie soundtrack TLE produced had become a business unto themselves, and Lamont had forced a separate division around them. triple large tracks. 10 soundtracks released in the last 5 years, and they'd all gone at least platinum. With his label dominating the industry, Lamont was firmly lodged in the top tier of the crop of new black moguls. But he didn't want to be one of. He wanted to be king, the one and only. And as the new chairman of Augusta Music, that's what he would be. By the time the girls' late afternoon snack arrived, Keisha's nerves had gotten the best of her, and she was in the bathroom vomiting up lunch. It was then that the phone finally rang, but it was the phone in their room, not in Kenny's, as they'd expected. While Toya tended to Keisha, Mimi walked through the adjoining door to answer it. It was probably her worrisome mother. She'd already phoned twice today. "Can I talk to Mimi?" said the caller. "This is." "Hey, it's Daryl from Triple Large. Kenny there?" "No," she said, excited to be hearing from him. "He went out." "Good. Look, meet me downtown at 5 o'clock, 86 Walker Street. Don't say shiz to Kenny, not a word. I don't know if we can get there by 5. Keisha is kind of sick right now." "No, just you. Don't say anything to them yet either. Tell them you have to meet a friend or something. I'll explain when you get there. 86 Walker. I'll meet you downstairs. Take a cab. I'll pay for it." "But," Mimi began. "Don't stress me," Daryl cut her off. "Just get down there by 5.